I miss going live on TikTok. I miss going live on TikTok so much. And so I thought I would try and come live here on Substack and see if anybody wanted to hang out and talk and get into good conversations about, I don't know, what this year is about, how we're supposed to get through any kind of spiritual messages that may come through, and all of the things. Because I feel like I've been going through such an initiation, but in the best way possible. And I kind of feel like we're all sort of in this like precipice of, hi, Nick, how are you? Yeah, and if you have any random questions that you want to ask, like I'm happy to riff on any topic. So, if you want to you can comment with a question. Uh, but it's been wild, right? Like, so I feel like it is, I feel like the only way to say this is like, it is a crazy time to be alive. Like, I feel like it is a wild and crazy time to be alive. The stream looks amazing so far. Yay! Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you for letting me know. Cause I was like, oh. But I've been in my winter arc hermit mode, and then like I'm coming out of it, right? And it's like I've been like, it's been weird. My winter arc was really about like the death of my old identity. And I realized that I had been living a lie for like all of my life. So that was fun. Yeah, so I was having literally a mental breakdown because my whole life, like since I was 3 years old, I have always just wanted to sublimate my emotions through the arts. So I've been dancing since I was 3, and then like I love singing and musical theater and like, telling stories, and like music has been my soul. So, and I was getting visions and like dreams when I was a kid of like, oh my God, I see myself on stage, sold out Madison Square Garden. You know, like singing, and then like going backstage and like empowering the youth, like instead of like a meet and greet, to be like, hi, oh my God, like yes, like you should go out and do what you love and blah blah blah. And so like I, again, growing up like in a with like a tiger mom, right? Like I just pounded the pavement, and I really I just went for it, right? Um and so it was frustrating because I spent I'm talking my entire life in an industry that was not in a way aligned with who I truly am. And so it was soul crushing to discover through my Chinese metaphysics birth chart, which I'm going to teach everyone about how to like read it, because it's honestly way easier to read than like tropical astrology or Vedic astrology or human design. Like Chinese metaphysics makes so much more logical sense, and not just because like I have Chinese ancestors. Like it just makes more sense because it's like based off of the 5 elements and how they work together. So logically, like it's not so woo-woo-y. It's just like, all right, what controls fire? Water, because you can douse out a fire with water, right? Like it makes sense, right? Um or like, how do you feed fire? You give it more wood, right? Like it makes sense. You seem very artistic. Yeah, thank you. Uh, so so I guess the story started where I was realizing like this is basically what happened. I guess if I'm going to try and like tell the story correctly, because my ADHD will go like 10,000 different ways to Sunday. But basically, if you really want the timeline, it was like I realized that I just like things weren't working, right? I'm all about pivoting in life. Like I went for musical theater, that didn't work out as well. So then I moved to like commercials. That paid a lot more. And then I moved to TV and film. And then when that didn't work out in Hollywood, I also happened to start seeing dead people. That was not on my bingo card. I had zero interest in being a psychic. I had zero interest in tarot. I had zero interest in being a witch or whatever it was. I just didn't care. It wasn't, I mean, like, luckily, thankfully, my parents never forced me to choose a religion. They are just like, no, but when you go and visit grandma and grandpa, you need to do the things out of respect, but you don't have to believe it. And I was like, okay, bet. But I was just like, okay, well, now I like was forced to take the red pill, so I got to either deal with this or not. So I just decided to lean into it because it wasn't going away. And then now here we are, 10 years later, and I've mastered my psychic superpowers. I call them superpowers because I don't really identify with necessarily being a psychic or being a tarot reader or being, I don't know what the heck people call themselves on the TikToks anymore. But like, I just was like, no, I use my powers to help people. And that's it. Um, so like, and then I made a business about it. And then TikTok came around and like, I was just like, how do I do this? Right. Because Instagram wasn't doing it at that time. And so I found TikTok and then I got on TikTok and I was like, OMG, these are like giving me a new life. I thrived on TikTok. So from 2022 to 2024, I was a content creator and influencer, micro influencer on TikTok. And it was amazing. It was so much fun. I had more money than I even knew what to do with. I was like, being able to learn all this new stuff, meet new friends, like really be able to like learn about DIY projects and cooking and like, all of these other things from other incredible creators that had nothing to do with the spiritual space that I was in. And so, but then obviously TikTok is dead now. So like I was like, I need to come to Substack. But for my story about like the death of my identity, during my winter arc this past winter, I realized after studying, getting back into Chinese astrology and studying my birth chart that like I am not energetically built to create consistent wealth from firewood industries. And firewood industries are like content creation, influencing, and all of the entertainment industry. So that's fashion, music, acting, art, all the things. Because firewood industries, their commodity, what gives them money, what gives you money is attention, right? Attention. So that's watch time, right? Watch time, follow through, engagement, all of those things is what gives you money. So the more engagement you can get, the more watch time you can get, the more you can keep people on your screen, the more money you can make, right? Makes sense. That's why with TikTok, it's like you have to post like 3 to 5 videos every single day, like every single day, consistency. And then it's just an algorithm like math, right? And you hopefully get as much people to watch your stuff and then blah, blah, blah. But like, I don't talk in like 90-second segments. It's not natural to me because interestingly enough, in my Chinese chart, so when you look at the natal chart in your Chinese astrology birth chart, there's going to be 4 pillars. So it's like your year, your month, your day, and your hour. And so your day pillar is the core of who you are, right? And my day pillar is a Ren water, which is a Yang water sign. So it is like a big, vast ocean. And then my heavenly stem is the rat, the Yang rat, which is another water sign. So you have water on top of water, which means that my day pillar is one of the most powerful, like, day pillars to have, right? Because it's like the same element. So like a fire would be the same, earth, you get my point. So not only am I this vast ocean, but I'm like the vast ocean at midnight with this well of like wisdom and mysticism and like secrets and like, you know what I mean? Like you want to talk about rabbit holing, like I will go deep, right? And it's oddly like, it's kind of funny how my psychic skill specifically is that I can see straight into your soul and tell you exactly the mental and emotional block that's preventing you from getting to where you want to go. It's kind of handy, actually. uh, so I would always do that in my sessions, and that's why people would almost every single one of my clients would always cry when I would have a session with them because I would just see straight in, and I'd be like, oh, it's like this and this. Oh, the reason why is because of this and that. And then there's something like this. And then they're like, oh my God, yeah. So it was so good because I could identify the source or the root of the problem and then fix it for them or like say, hey, here's how to fix it. Right. And then that's why they would keep coming back. And that's why I had the career that I did. So, what was so heartbreaking learning about Chinese astrology, learning about my birth chart and like the death of my like my performer self was the fact that I am not a performer. That is not my energetic baseline. I can do it really well. I can perform really well. I can sing really well. I've had some success, right? Like I've done a national tour of a musical. I have done some TV. I have done some films. Like I have worked opposite some A-list celebrities. I'm very fortunate. I'm very, very lucky and grateful in that sense. And like, you know, I just never understood why I had such an incessant dream to tell these stories, to play these characters, to share these truths in a way that people could understand them and digest them. And yet, like, I could not get the roles that I wanted to save my life. I had like acting, like famous acting directors, casting directors, managers, even other fellow like big actors. And they're like, why are you not like a series regular on a show right now? I don't understand. Like, why do you not have a 3 picture deal right now? Like, I'm so confused. Like, the camera likes your face. Thank God, right? The camera likes your face. You're talented. You've got a really good work ethic. You've got a great personality. Like, you'd be fun to like hang around with on set for 12 hours and you're funny. Like I saw your comedic reel and you're really hilarious. And I was like, oh, thank you. I'm like, well, if you want to open the door for me, that's great. And they're like, yeah, so we can't, but reach out when you get blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, bye. So at a certain point, I was like, you have to pivot. You know what I'm saying? When it's like, when you keep on getting this and you're hitting your head against the brick wall, I'm like, I got to still figure out a way. So anyway, the psychic stuff and then blah, blah, blah. And so here I am. But when I really got into my chart, it was like, it's not that I can't be an actor. It's the fact that like my energetic, so we all have an energy like blueprint on the easiest way for us to make wealth that's sustainable. So I want to make that like very clear because yeah, I could make quick cash, right? Like I was a content creator. I did TikTok shop. I, was an influencer. I was getting PR. Brands were sending me like quotes for like how much they wanted to pay me in order to like promote their brand or whatever. But I burnt out. I couldn't sustain it. And I was like, what the heck is going on? Because it was great until then it also conflicted with a lot of my morals and values because we're like, yeah, we don't really need you to like try it for 30 days. You just need to say that you did and lie and promote our product. And I was like, I don't think I can do that. Like I have too much of like a conscience for that. Right. So I had to like stop posting and I had to like kind of be like, what do I do here? Like, how do I move forward? This isn't the right path. I'm not getting the right engagement. Like, I can't talk about the things that I really want to talk about because I don't just do tarot. Tarot was just a performative thing. Like my psychic skills and my like even like my other abilities, like my healing abilities, my surgery, my spiritual surgery abilities, like so much other stuff that I do like has nothing to do with tarot. I'm not saying tarot is bad. I'm just saying like I just like ascended. I just improved. I started mastering my abilities and like low key got greedy. And I was like, okay, yeah, I mastered that. Now give me more. Tell me more. I want to know more. Let me do more. Because one day I'd love to walk through walls. That would be awesome. Or just like teleport somewhere. That would be great. Save a lot on like plane tickets. but I cannot do that yet. So, still gonna do it the old way. But anyhow, um, I I was sitting there and I was really upset because basically, like, the way for me to make money is not through attention, it is through authority. And those are two very different commodities that, people buy. So I was like, oh my God, what is this? And it's like, you would be a great teacher. And I'm like, oh, I want to fucking teach. And then it's like, you'll be a great coach. I'm like, I don't want to coach anymore. And so I'm like literally sitting there arguing with the stars and trying to like figure out how to make this work for myself. And then it was like, okay, you can be like a thought leader, you can be an author, like the thing that is going to make you the most money and the most wealth and like a lasting legacy would be to create intellectual property or AKA IP. So that would look like, original frameworks for systems, writing a book, right? Things like that. You then own the IP for that item and then you could sell that. So one of the things that I learned once I started digging deeper was that like I could have been more successful in Hollywood if I had taken the more like create your own content type of route. So if I had like I did write, produce, star, and direct in my own web series once upon a time. If I had continued to write and create my own short films or my own YouTube TV series or whatever, I would now be a lot further along in the industry than I am, if that makes any sense. And so I thought about that and then it made me really angry because I was like, why didn't someone tell me that before? If someone had told me that I didn't need to audition all the time, that I should have written my own musical or like what, like I wanted to do this one woman show, back when I was like trying to do Broadway and I wanted to be like, oh, like, I like, if I played every single blonde on Broadway, but had this face, right? Cause obviously I'm Asian. And so like I wanted to play like Shirley in Oklahoma. I wanted to play Amneris and Aida. I wanted to play Galinda in Wicked, even though I probably would only get cast as Elphaba or Nessa because, Elphaba's green. So like, it doesn't really matter what color skin you are. Um, or Nessa because like Lea Salonga, who's Filipino, played Nessa. So then I could interchange right like that. And so I was like, man, if I could just like sing all of them, like all of the songs, and like Disneyfy that, then it would be great. Maybe I will do that sometime in the future, but that would have been my moneymaker. That would have been my IP. That would have been something where basically what the, what the Chinese like astrology was kept on saying is like, you do not you are such a huge ocean. You are such a big like persona, like or personality. It's like you don't fit into those tiny little boxes in Hollywood. You need to build your own stage and then perform on that. And it's not even about performing, it's about authenticity, right? And so there's a lot of performance that goes on with being a content creator. There's a lot of performance that goes along with being like with an influencer. There's a lot of performance, right? Being a singer, an actor, or whatever. And that's just, it burns me out because in my chart, so out of the 5 elements, right? In my Chinese chart, I'm very water and metal heavy, which means like I have a lot of intuitive and like, mental clarity, but I have a little bit of earth, which creates stability. I have 1 fire, which is technically my wealth element, and I have no wood to make that fire. 0. 0. So firewood industries literally burn me out because fire melts metal. And I have metal in my chart, right? So I was like, that's why. And I was like, I was just so angry because I was like, I wish someone had told me this when I started. If someone had told me this when I was starting my career, like, or when I had just gotten out of college and I was like, this is what I want to do with my life. I would have been so much further along and I would have wasted so much less time. And so that's where the genesis of this idea for the Decode Your Soul workshop or course came into play, where I was like, okay, now that I have literally studied the gamut of astrology, tropical astrology, Vedic astrology, Chinese astrology, human design, numerology, I Ching, like gene keys, neuroscience, psychology, quantum physics. Is there more? Probably. I was like, all right, it would be insane for anyone to expect anyone to like literally study all of that and become a master in it just so that they could to master themselves, right? And the whole point of us being here on this planet is to ascend and evolve, right? Like that's the whole point of us being here as a spiritual being. And we came here to learn certain lessons. So I was like, okay, what if I can synthesize all of these different modalities together so that you don't have to become a master in all of these things? I give you a cheat sheet and I can be like, okay, great. So if you really want to know why you came here, the karmic lessons that you need to learn in order for you to ascend and evolve out of this lifetime, go check your Vedic chart, right? And then you can go pull up your Vedic chart for free from astroseek.com or whatever it is. And then I can tell you, right? Like step by step, look for this, go look for this. If it's this, it means this. If it's this, it means this. If it's this, it means this. There you go. Karmic lessons, go learn them. And then you can learn them with the most minimal amount of suffering, right? If you really want to make a lot of money, right? And oh my God, and this year's going to be crazy. So if you want to make a lot of money, you need to understand the best way for you to make money. Now, something that I've always said and has still holds true is the fact that like everyone is so unique and is on their own unique journey. So it would be asinine of me to say, oh, this is the way to make money. That's just wrong, right? There's 975,000 different ways to skin a cat. So there's 975,000 different ways to make money, especially like nowadays with the internet. Like you can do whatever. So I was like, okay, yes, you can look at your tropical astrology to figure it out. Like your second house is money, your 10th house is your career, blah, 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 blah. 11th house is your network. Or you could just go look at your Chinese astrology chart and like you look at like for example your day pillar and you see what element it is. Mine's water, for example. And then I show you the chart and I go, okay, so if your element, if your main element, and if your core element is water, then your wealth element is fire. Okay, so water controls fire, right? So that means though that so then the second part would be you need to go and look at your they have the 10 gods, and your two strongest gods are the ways that you can make money the easiest. So for example, for me, I'm like the diplomat and the director. So that means that I make the most money with connections, like networking, right? The diplomat, like, oh, hello, we're parlaying, like, oh my gosh, blah, blah, blah. And also the director, as in like steady, consistent growth with like IP courses and blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, Mr. Williams, hi. How are you? Happy New Year. So, but feel free to ask questions as I'm like, I don't know, trolling on about all this stuff. So I was like, okay, then if you know that your element is fire and like these are your two main ways of making money, then to put it together, it would be okay. So fire type things, right? The way to make that fire would be to make these courses and then to like talk about it, to sell it, to whatever, whatnot. So once I know that, then I can start creating all of that stuff. And that's going to bring in consistent income that I can totally depend on, that is not going to burn me the fuck out, right? Because we don't need to chase money. We just need to do the things that are easiest to us and that align with our wealth energy and what people will pay us the most for. And to be honest with you, when I look back at my entire career of like every single time I've made money in my life, the most amount of money that I made was from people who really wanted my wisdom, for people who wanted my mentorships, people who wanted my coaching, people who wanted like that deep dive, like, okay, like, girl, tell me, like, is it ancestral? Like, do I have to break some, ancestral karmic chains? Do I need to, like, you know what I mean? Exorcism of the soul? Like, what is it? And I'm like, okay, bet. Like, you know what I mean? Like, go, it's this, right? And it's accurate. I change people's lives for the better. And it's very, very fulfilling when I do see that market change in someone, right? Then at least if I die tomorrow, I know I made this world just like a teeny bit better. And that's like really just all that I can ask of myself, right? Like, I'm just one little girl in this entire huge world, just trying to get by and also trying to make it a better place. So I'm good, Mr. Williams. I'm good. I'm like getting back on the horse now. So hopefully these Substack lives will be the new place where I can go live, because YouTube was scary. I don't like going live on YouTube. That's just what I've determined thus far. So that led me to then go, okay, now I know what I need to create in order to create lasting wealth for me this year, in the year of the fire horse. And I also know that I need to truly embody my truest identity, because if I'm not a performer, then I need to embody the identity of who I truly am. And not to say that I don't perform, because if you have seen me on TikTok, like, obviously I love to sing, I love to like tell stories, I love to like come on here and like share and like talk. But like at the end of the day, like if I had to do this every single day, I would die, right? I just would die of exhaustion. But if I did it like, once a week or whatever, I'm just like, it's like I thrive by connecting with you. I thrive by being able to answer your questions. I thrive by being able to be like, okay, what is it that you need? What do you have questions about? What do you want to know? Like, okay, let me like, blah, 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 and then like I'll just like share all the things, right? So that's why I say, like, if you're watching this live, like, drop a question and I am happy to just riff on it and talk about whatever. So I was like, okay, how do I embrace this new identity? Especially when, like, I have these spiritual superpowers, for lack of a better word. I still do need to use them, because they help me get to where I want to go. And how can I use them to help others, right? And also to make this world a better place, because clearly, we are experiencing the fall of the Roman Empire and the patriarchy as we see it. And I have so many thoughts. Ugh, I have so many thoughts on it. But I'll say this. I think that this is where, like, I think this is how I'm going to be like segmenting things. I've been getting a lot of downloads about that is about like the new earth, about the new world order, about what's going to come in, like into place, and like what is going to what needs to happen in order for like peace and prosperity and harmony to reign. And they've been showing me the vision, because I've been having the talkie talks with them, and they've been showing me the vision from such a macro perspective, right? That I literally, if I told you everything, I either sound like a crazy person that needs to go into a psych ward, or I'm like the best fantasy book author, like the next best fantasy book author, right? Um, it's one or the other. And so I'm just sitting here like, there's no way that I can talk about this and be taken seriously. Or can I? Is that where it's going, right? Because it's not just about the US. It's not just about this, like, earth. It's not even about this humans. It's more about, like, it's about the multiverse. It's about the gods and goddesses. It's about like all of the species in the galaxies, in all of the eververse. It is everything. And so when I'm just sitting here like, okay, that is too much. what am I supposed to do as a human on earth when you bring me all of this shit that I also have to do, also while taking care of myself and taking care of my mom and taking care of this house? Don't even get me started on the random bullshit that was like going through. So, you know what I'm saying? It's just a lot. And I'm like, I need to go and binge Netflix right now because I need to like, and it's a lot. It's a lot for a human to handle. So what I am going to be doing is like, I am mid writing my fantasy book. So I think I'm going to be putting these coded downloads into my other Substack. And so if y'all want to decode the prophecies and the messages and all of that, then you can go to that Substack and read them. And then that way it'll also get you excited for my fantasy book that's coming out. And then for this particular Substack, I'll be just giving you frameworks and actual step-by-steps instead of just the tarot on what you need to do in order to ascend and evolve and also help make this world a better place, because we need everybody has a part to play. And I think that's what is concerning. And I think that's what's sad, but it's what's needed. And like, I get it, but it's just like, okay, well, what can we do? So it's like, the bad guys have a part to play too, right? Because without the monstrosities that are going around, people would not wake up as fast. People would not see that, it's important to care and learn about how we are being governed and who's in control and exactly like how things are being controlled, because it needs to change. It's not sustainable. It's been shown throughout history that this type of governing, of this hierarchy, of this pyramid just does not work. It's just not viable in the long term, period, end of story. That's just how it is, right? So then you have to go, well, what is viable? And so a lot of people are talking about how the matriarch is much more viable than the patriarchy, because a matriarchal society centers around community. It centers around helping each other, loving each other, lifting each other up. It's about taking care of our children and the elderly and seeing what is in the interest for the good of all, instead of just focusing on what you can profit off of and not caring about your fellow neighbor. So there would be less of this like, oh, well, oh, she has that bag, I want to be like her, or oh my God, he has all this, like I need to be with him. And it goes more back to values and harmony and working together. And, with the resources that the earth provides us naturally, we have more than enough to sustain everybody. It's just the fact that it's being so unevenly distributed is why we have so much of these problems to begin with, right? And the other thing about that is that we need to work in harmony. I think that like that's why there's such like a decentering men movement, because like the men at the top have basically all of this power but are wielding it irresponsibly. And so I was like trying to think back and going like all the way back to the source, the root of the problem. And it's not, I don't want to say like, it's not, men aren't the problem. It's anyone in power who does not wield that power responsibly, who are greedy, who are selfish, and who are using that power to lord over others. They're not taking care of their community, right? There are some people who are, like, gosh, I can't even remember now. But anyway, there are some people who made a lot of money and then quit and then spent all their money to donate to like build orphanages for kids and like to take care of communities and whatnot. But that should be the norm, not the outlier. So if we can work together, if we can help each other, if we can lift each other up, and we play our part, then we can fix this, right? Like there is a solution, there is a way. But it takes cooperation, and it takes people to put down their fucking egos, and it takes like time, because like some people, including myself clearly, didn't know what the fuck they were supposed to be doing anyway. Like if you had told me when I graduated high school that I would make a career as like a psychic strategist who wielded and dealed tarot cards and was like a content creator on TikTok, I would have laughed in your fucking face. I was like, I don't know whose cards you're reading, but they're not mine. You know what I mean? Like it was not, this was not what I had wanted. But then again, I wouldn't trade these powers for the world, because now I get insights to all the things, and at least I get answers to why things didn't work out the way that they should have for me, and why, like for example, like why I didn't get my big break earlier in life. It shows it in my Chinese chart. Like I can literally, like it's literally there in like your luck pillars. And I'm like, oh, I'm just starting my prime now. Great, right? And it made me feel really upset for a while, because I was just like, well, how am I supposed to enjoy, all of the success, fame, and fortune that I want when I'm like saggy, old, and gray? Like, I don't understand that. How is that fair? Like, that's like fucked up. And like, I need to talk to management about this, because this whole matrix system is broken. Because if Earth is a simulation, and the simulation is here purely to help souls ascend and evolve, clearly it's not doing a good job. Clearly it's not, because people aren't learning their lessons. Because if people were learning their karmic lessons, we wouldn't be having all of this hate and anger and war everywhere. Think about it. Like this really does, like this gets me all hot and bothered, because I'm sitting here like, if people were actually learning their karmic lessons and their soul was actually ascending and evolving, we would not have this much like hatred and so much division and so much of people like just being blind and just putting it, like we wouldn't have this, because people would be ascending and evolving. Like, make it make sense. Make it make sense. Make the math, right? This is logical. I'm not even going like woo-woo-y terms. It's fucking logical. So like, when I sit there and I'm sitting here and I'm just like, okay, well, what can I do? Right? Like, I like it it breaks my heart to see how horrific like these deaths have been, and how they're now allocating $15 billion to create more ICE detention centers all across the US. Like what the actual fucktard is going on, right? And it's like, okay, like, and so when I say we all have our part to play, right? I think of it like the Avengers. You have people like Captain America, you have people like Tony Stark slash Iron Man, you have people like Black Panther, and then you have people like the Hulk, right? You have all, and Doctor Strange, and then that whole thing. So, but each member, right, or team member has like their whole fleet, and they attack in their levels on where they excel, where their strengths are, right? So I commend the people that are like protesting on the front lines. That takes a lot of courage. And so I fully support that. I know for me that like I feel like my part to play is to help prime the leaders of this new world order. So the people who need to be woken up, the people who need to ascend and evolve, the people who need to restructure their legacies or restructure their empires, or to really get their businesses up and running so that they can show that they're a leader in their community in whatever industry niche field that you're in. You know what I'm saying? So that like once this all crumbles down, like they're emerging as like, oh yeah, let's get that guy in, because we know that they know what they're doing. Like they've been doing this, with their Fortune 500 country, blah, 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 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's where I am and what I can do best. You know what I mean? So I try to like, I'm trying to like, thank you for the hearts and the likes. So that's where I'm just like, all right. So if you need help understanding who you actually are as a spiritual being so that you can learn your karmic lessons, so that you can get all the wealth and love and happiness that you want, so that you have all the resources in order to contribute to the peace and the prosperity and this new world order, then bet. Like, I'll help you do that. You know what I mean? Practically, step by step, like, okay, open up this account. You know what I mean? Allocate this, create this thing, market it this way, blah, 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 blah. But also, like, giving you the spiritual surgery downloads and going in and fixing what needs to be fixed and aligning what needs to be aligned on a soul level. Like, it's not Reiki, it's so much deeper than that. I don't even understand what I do. I just do what I do. And the only way that I can explain it is that like I went up the ladder and basically um like I do primordial magic. I guess but I don't even know if that's even the right term for it. Like I don't I just do what I do. Makes sense. Okay, good. Thank God, because I'm like I don't know how to explain this. And the thing is that with the vision of for my legacy, it's like yeah, I'm starting with this course, but like I want to have like I mean I've seen it like they're showing like it's like a luxury resort and like people can come and like go get their color analysis done like if you want to get styled up to look like your CEO boss self, but like it's combined with your astrology. It's also like a tarot reading with your, you know what I mean? Whatever. Your work is really nice. Oh, thanks, Nick. Oh, that makes me so happy. Thank you. You're so sweet. I mean, if you have any, do you have any questions? I'm happy to answer any questions. I mean, I can pull some cards, but like, I'm happy to answer any questions. Um, but anyway, um, my point is that like, I feel like that's the best way that I can help. And also, I feel like in order for me to build my authority and my credibility so that you're like, oh no, I think like, yeah, that bitch knows what she's talking about, is for me to like document my journey and like to show you how I'm rebuilding my identity and my, excuse me, legacy from the ground up, now knowing the shit that I wish someone had told me way back in the day, right? I'm thinking of some questions now. Have you been in the tarot space for a few years now? Yeah, I've been reading tarot for like over 10 years. So it's been it's like it's it's second nature to me at this point. I actually just got a brand new tarot deck in last week that I really wanted to use. But yeah. So I've been doing it for a really long time. And again, I didn't really like want to do it, but I do it because I mean, it's fun. And also, it's like people don't necessarily believe me when I just channel it. So, like, for example, if I was like, let me give you a reading, Nick, and then I'll like tune into your energy and like say all this stuff. And then, like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But then when I pull the cards, you're like, oh shit. Oh my God, that was so real. And then that's just how it always is. I'm like, okay, it's just performative. Yeah, I found you on TikTok, so I'll keep watching. Oh my God, yay! See. That's what I'm saying. I wish that TikTok still existed in the US, like in the old algorithm, because it was really, truly like so special. And I made so many good friends, and I found so many incredible people that I just was like, oh my God, like this is it. Like I just love this, you know? I love being on trend. I love the TikTok dances. Like I now sing K-pop Demon Hunters on repeat. It's great. Uh, but yeah, but now it's just like, all right, well, you know, you just got to lean in to who you are and then just accept it. And like the rest will come, you know, the algo is a bit different, but I think you can still make it work. Okay. I mean, I deleted it from my phone because I just really didn't need that. And I was like, I don't know. And then there was more research saying that like you can make more sales and get more discovered on Instagram now. Because they've changed a bit of the algorithm on Instagram versus like TikTok. So I personally hate Instagram because I hate Meta, because I hate Mark Zuckerberg, but that's a whole other kit and caboodle in and of itself. So I'm debating on going back onto Instagram so I can just DM people and like, do stuff there, but it is it is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is. But I do like Substack because I mean I think it's going to change a lot this year because a lot of people are flooding it. But at least like I can write what I want to write. At least I can post what I want to post, and it's not getting a lot of engagement right now. But like at least I'm being truthful to myself. At least I can say what I want to say and talk about what I want to talk about. And I feel like that's all that I can do. I can just be the lighthouse and say, hey, like, if you want to have like a calm place to land in the middle of this massive, crazy storm that we're having, like, come to my Substack. Like, we can hang out, we can talk, we can shoot the shit and talk about silly things. Or we can also get down and dirty and like really go, okay, well, what is the meaning of life? Why are we even here? How do we even fix this situation? What's actually going on with this? Let's tune into this. Well, why is it like this? You know what I mean? Yeah, this is the first live I've seen on Substack. No way! Did you get a notification on your phone? Or did you just happen to like scroll by and like see it? I'm just wildly curious because I know that when you follow or you subscribe for free to someone's Substack, you have the app on your phone. Okay, yeah. So like, yeah, when you have the app on your phone, which I love, it'll just be like, oh, Alicia's live. And then you can be like, oh, bet. Like, I'll just think because that was the other thing that sucked about TikTok though, would be like, because I had like 125,000 followers, right? But like they wouldn't notify 125,000 of my followers that I was live, which was weird. Like some people will be like, oh my God, like I follow you. And like, I never got a notification. And I was like, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. And it was so irritating, because people would be like, oh no, I missed it. Like I wanted to do reading or I wanted to talk to you or I wanted to hang out with you. And I was like, I know I missed you too. Right. And like an hour later after I like explained everything, they were like, wait, what did I miss? I'm like, bitch, I can't do a replay. I can't do a recap. Like last week on Love Island, you know what I mean? Like it was just too much. So I'm glad that Substack at least has the notifications out. Nick, I'm glad that you're finding it as humorous to see. But I'm glad that like at least Substack is a place where I can go live now. And if it is the case, then I'll probably go live once a week. Just so that we can talk and connect and just have an AMA. Like, ask me anything. Like, ask me any questions whatsoever, and I'm happy to answer it. And even if the answer is I will not talk about that, but I can say this about the topic, like, I'm happy to do that, But I do think that, like, if you are spiritual, but you want practical tips on actually how to use spirituality in order to like get through this crazy thing that we call life and just get the things that you want, then you know what I mean? Like that's what I'm here to do. Of course, we'll definitely be tuning in regularly. Yay! Oh, I'm so happy. That makes me so happy, Nick. Um, So are you into spirituality or like what video did you like? Was it one of my tarot videos that you found me on and TikTok or what was it? I'm just curious because like, or like, what do you, I am. Nice. Awesome. Yay. We love that. Yeah. Great minds think alike. And I will say this, and I think that this is the hardest part is that like, it was the tarot video. Okay. Bless. I do want to make something clear. I do have clients that are men, so it's not that I don't like to work with men. Um, I do think that despite that, though, like I think that the matriarchy and having that divine feminine ruling is what is going to be great. But the ideal way of ruling society is where the divine feminine and masculine can work together in tandem, in harmony. And I think that's the ideal way to work. That's self-mastery. Is we all have feminine and masculine within us, right? But It's about getting the order from the soul. So from your intuition, from your soul, being like, okay, what do I need to do today? Not right. And then make the mind execute it with the masculine. And that is exactly how things should be, if that makes sense. You were giving some accurate readings. Nice. I'm glad that they were accurate. I love it. Maybe we can like end with a tarot reading at the end and then you can tell me whether it resonates or not. That can be fun. Usually they do. I love I do love tuning into spirit and like seeing what comes through. It's fun. But that was another topic that I was like having a whole angry debate with uh my ancestors, primordials, and powers that be. That's like, instead of God, angels, universe, which is what I used to say, I graduated from that. So now it's like I mainly commune with my ancestors, the primordials, and the powers that be, because if I'm going to get advice, I'm going to get advice from the top of the food chain. Like, I'm done dealing with, you know, like, hello, like, welcome to Amazon customer service. How can I help you? Like, I don't need some low level CSR. I don't even need their supervisors. Fuck that shit. Who's their supervisor? And who's their supervisor? And who's their supervisor? Like, I went all the way up to the food chain because these people, when I say people, these entities, these spirits, half of that, I'm like, oh my God. And that was the crazy part too. And that's why that's why I really wanted to do my spiritual surgery podcast this year. And I wanted to launch that so I could talk about like the true spiritual hierarchy and who really does what. Because at first I was like, oh, angels are the best. Bitch, no. They are so limited. Okay. Like, I mean, not that they're bad, but I'm like, I have 7 guardian angels watching over me 24/7. I'm very lucky. I'm very blessed. I'm very grateful for their protection. Okay. So I'm not trying to discount what they can do. I'm just saying, like, when I had questions and I said, why haven't I got my big break yet? Why haven't I met the love of my life yet? Why has this stuff not happened? And I've worked my ass off to do so, right? Why? Why? And people are like, no, no, girl, I'm sorry. And it was like every tarot reader that I went to, every astrologer that I went to, every single, like, you know what I mean? Like, psychic that I went to, no one knew. No one fucking knew. And then when they would channel this shit from my spirit guides, it would be like, oh, we're so sorry. We feel so bad. Like, unfortunately, that person had free will. So we'll make it up to you in 6 months, or give us 3 months and we'll make it up to you. What the fuck kind of answer is that? Right? And then it didn't even make it up to me. Versus when I finally understood my Chinese luck pillars, it completely explained why I didn't get my break and why it's coming now. Like, why couldn't have someone just told me that? If someone had told me that, I wouldn't have been crying and depressed and feeling like my life was over. You know what I mean? And so that's why I'm like, I'm just going to make this course, so that no one else has to go through what I have been going through. It's not fun. It's not fair. And where was it? I love how I'm like looking like this for my phone, and my phone's literally right here. I was on Pinterest and I saw a quote, and it was like, the first steps to paradise are made in hell. And I'm like, yep. Amen. Agree. Like, double tap that, because I feel like, and that's part of what they were saying, it was like I had to go through really experiencing firsthand the toxicity of the entertainment industry and of wealthy people and of this, like, in this very messed up matrix system, so that I could fix it and create paradise. So that's not like, a tall order or anything, but like, it is what it is, right? And that's where that famous phrase of like, well, God doesn't give the hard things. God gives their biggest struggles to his strongest warriors, some bullshit like that. And I was like, fuck that then. Fuck that. I swear I didn't sign up for this garbage. Show me the contract. Where I was like, oh yes, let me come down to earth and suffer so I can make a better way of doing things. Like, no, thank you. But I am blessed. Like I recognize the privilege that I do have. I am a lot more fortunate than other people. And despite my own inhibitions and insecurities, because I have them too, I have my karmic lessons to learn too. I am not immune from it. But you know, it's a lot. It's a lot, and it's annoying. And sometimes I want to rest, and I'm probably going to rest after this. But I think I'm going to so the show that I'm going to be watching Survivor 50 because I've been a Survivor fan. I've watched every single season since the first season. I don't like the format of the show now, but since all the celebrities are back, I mean the past players are back. The old school players. I'm really excited. But I'm probably going to watch this K-drama. I've been into a lot of K-dramas lately. But anyway, it's a newly released one called The Art of Sarah. So I might just like go and binge that tonight. But I guess I'm trying to say with all of that is I'm really grateful that you showed up tonight. And I'm grateful that like you're willing to listen to me talk because I've had so many cool like aha moments and like insights and like things that I just wanted to share with people that actually cared to listen about it. And so I'm just so grateful that you showed up and I'm grateful that you're interacting and I'm just grateful that like this can be like the new home for this because like I just posted so I don't know if you saw it, but I posted a framework today on Substack. It's the three rules, the rule of three framework. And it was basically just because yesterday I had this like massive aha moment and I was like, oh my God, like I literally spend most of my time just overthinking and freaking the fuck out in my mind. And I'm like, that is such a waste of my time. Like, I would be so much more further ahead if I just got tasks done. And I will work harder than any other person. And I don't feel like that's a flex anymore. And I don't think it should be a flex, but I do work very, very hard. And I think that's like my Virgo stellium coming into play. But you know, we're at like, I just realized I was like, I just need to focus on fewer projects and then break them down into like 30-minute tasks. And like when I do that, my productivity went through the roof. Like I spent an hour and a half hemming and hawing over whether to buy four new tubes of flippin' pretty lip glosses when clearly I have more than enough. Because two new shades came out and I was like, oh, but like, ew, and I was like, what am I doing with my life? Shut the fuck up. You don't need this. Sit the fuck down and go do your work, you know? And so I wasted an hour and a half. And then that's kind of where it was born. I was like, oh my God, what if I just like took 3 domains that I wanted in order to embody my true identity as a primordial princess and, you know, the architect of these, you know, of people's legacies. And then like start laying down the foundation of my legacy. So that's like, let's get the about page up. Let's get the website up. Let's get at least like the things started. Let's get like the first couple of episodes of the podcast batched and ready to go so that like it's forward movement, you know, and be like, this is who I am. Right. Why does that make me think of like Demi Lovato and like Camp Rock anyway? Whoo. But it's also like, I don't know, have you seen Wicked? But the song Defying Gravity. And it's like, I think that that's kind of where I'm at right now, where it's like, something has changed within me. Something is not the same. I'm through with playing by the rules of someone else's game. Uh, Too long I've been afraid of losing love. I guess I've lost. Well, if that's love, then it must come at too high a cost. Uh, but I think that at the end of the day, we're all being asked, like everybody, not just me, we're all being asked to step up as our true, authentic selves, to share our biggest gifts and use them to make this world a better place. I'm glad that people are like in other countries are starting to hold people accountable to who was in the Epstein files. I'm glad that like people are speaking up, like Stephen Colbert. Oh my God, hero, love him. I'm glad that people are, you know, saying the truth and calling it out. And like, I'm glad that, people on the Reddit are sharing the TikTok videos so I can still get my news without being on TikTok. It's just, I really do think that things are changing, and I think they are changing for the better. And like, I think that's the only way that I can like deal with all of the atrocities that are occurring, because I do see a lot of good that's coming out of this too. I see people banding together. I see people helping each other. I see like people clapping back, people fighting for their rights. Like I see how like we're coming together as a human race in order to like eradicate things that are not working and to like start to put things together that are working. So, again, like I'm not a political person. I never wanted to be, but boy, do I understand politics now. You know what I mean? Like never thought that I would, but it is what it is. Um, so anyway, any other questions, or should I just pull some cards and see? Let me just lower this a little bit. Okay, that's not going anywhere. I also tweaked my knee trying to get out of bed. And so it was my left knee. So it was like, oh, I need to tune into my intuition more. Like I need to, like, it was like, yeah, you need to go back to like being that. And I was like, okay, well, I guess we will. I guess we will. So let's use my current favorite deck. Although I cannot wait to use my other deck. Oh, it's so pretty. But this is the Everyday Witch deck. So let's just see what comes out. I have no idea. The world. We're ending. We're ending a cycle. And this new one is beginning. And it's like, I think what we have to do, or at least those of you who are like in my camp, it's like, we have to start being the faces of the future. I guess that's the TLDR. Start being the face of the future. Start being the version of you who's on the other side of this. Start leading the way. That is how we will save the day. Just saw the full card. All right. Okay, so let's see. All right. Ancestors, primordials, powers that be, help me find some clarity. Please tell us what we need to know so that we can ascend, evolve, and grow. Thank you. The Empress and the World card. Tell me how this pops out. You have the ability to create the world that you want. I actually really love this World card because she's just like throwing her hat in the air. It's like this carefree feeling. I feel like what the main message is the fact that we can create the world that we truly want to live in. We just have to start creating it now, right? Like, why do you need to buy another expensive thing? You don't. Like for example, I have more clothes and makeup and fragrances than I even know what to do with. I don't need to buy anymore. You know what I mean? Unless it's like, oh my God, that's my signature. Like one of the things that I quote unquote, I don't want to say might be looking for, but if I get, if I find like a really beautiful emerald green bag that I don't have with the, excuse me, With the Emperor on the bottom of the deck, it's like you got to take action. You have to think logically. Like, it's really interesting because with the Empress and the Emperor, right? It's like we're birthing something into creation, but you need to take action. So that's kind of like mirroring what I was saying in my own story about how I was like overthinking so much that I wasn't taking much action in order to get it done. That's the same thing. So it's like you need to make sure that like whatever you're birthing into this world, you need to take the aligned action and like start to make it happen. Does that make sense? Okay. What else? What else do we need to know? What else? All right. What else do we need to know? How? Get more specific. Give me something good. Tell me something good. And my signifier card just came out. Shut the front door. The King of Pentacles. Oh my God. This is my signifier card, okay? Like I am the King of Pentacles. So when this card comes out, this is saying you need to embody your wealthiest self. You need to embody who the fuck you actually are, not who you wish you were, not who you want to be, who you are. And you are wealthy at your core. You are abundant at your core. You are so rich at your core because you're a spiritual being. You've got all this wisdom. You've got all these past lives. You have so many gifts and talents and intelligence and things that sometimes you just like take for granted a little bit, and you're like it's like you need to get rid of the lack mentality, right? That is what they're pushing. It's the fear. You cannot work from fear. You have to work from full sovereignty. And I don't want to, because it's not faith. It's not faith that it's going to work out. It's a knowingness. It is like a belief. It is like, like no one can tell you otherwise. It's sort of like if someone was like, "Oh, your name is James." You're like, "No, it's not. My name is Nick." Like I don't know what to tell you. And if they're like, "Okay, James," and you're like, "No, my name is Nick." Like I like they're like that's just it. Does that make any sense? That is how much, and it's not about Delulu. It's not about quote unquote acting as if. It is remembering who the fuck you are and understanding how incredibly powerful you are and using that power and wielding it responsibly. That is how you get to have your cake and eat it too. That's what the King of Pentacles' message is for you. The dog seems bored, but well, I'm happy with that. But it's like he's got this ox with like a little garland. So it's like even the ox doesn't have to work. It's just like a friend. I'm also getting that you're really abundant. You're a lot more abundant than you're giving yourself credit for. You have so much. So use it. You know what I mean? That's wild that came out. Like, I feel like it's very yang masculine energy, but divine masculine energy in a positive way. 2 girls and 2 guys. See? See that? There you go. Okay. Well, that made me happy. See, they listen. All right. Anything else? What do we need to work on? Is that? Okay, this is the Fool card. So it's okay that you're starting a new journey. You gotta like, I throw my hands up in the air sometimes. It's instead of being afraid of this new journey, get excited about it because you're doing something new. So try new things. Like that's how you're going to get new new results is by doing new things, right? So there's a lot of allies. Oh, wow. Oh my God, it's so funny because I actually saw two hawks the other day circling, but if you notice, there's a hawk here and a hawk here. So it's like see things from a higher perspective, understand exactly what there is that like you could use. I'm also hearing collaboration, coordination, cooperation, co-ops, building a co-op for someone. Um, you're gonna know it's the right path when you feel that excited. Like that. Yeah. When it doesn't feel like that, that means that it's not, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? You don't have to work so hard. You have to work, but you don't have to work so hard. And work is not supposed to be misery. Work is supposed to feel like a celebration. Find collaborators, find people that you get along with. Find people that it feels like you like a celebration, like something that you can that's a joy for you. I think that's the thing. It's like getting back to what joy is. And I know it's really hard to do when like there's so much like devastation happening in the world. Um, but you have to start cultivating the joy. You have to start being like, this is what would work. This is what would feel good. This is what would make me happy. This is how I feel good when I'm with others. Does that make any sense? Make time for play. I just heard that. Make time for play and pleasure. What feels good? Do that. What feels good? I was not going to pull that card because it was the devil card. So if it comes up again, then it was meant to be with the Two of Cups behind it. I don't know if that would be like, because I know like Venus is doing her thing right now. So some people might actually get meet a very important soulmate or karmic relationship, right? But the Wheel of Fortune, the High Priestess, and the Six of Swords. Okay, and I think there's one more card and then we're done. One card. There we go. King of Swords. A lot of this, like, you have matured. You're coming into your prime. Like, you know what I mean? Like, own all of this. All right. So, let's see. All right. So, the Wheel of Fortune, the High Priestess, the Six of Swords, and the King of Swords. So, the Wheel of Fortune. It's interesting because I'm getting Vegas, I'm getting roulette, I'm getting like take a spin, take your chances, spin it because the Wheel of Fortune is good and bad, right? So it's like you can take your chance and spin. If you have been doing the inner work, you're going to get good stuff coming in. If you haven't been doing the work, Saturn's coming in and you're going to have to learn your lessons the hard way. And I'm sorry. That is one of the toughest things about being a psychic that I will say is the worst part of my job is when I tell them exactly what they need to do and then they refuse to do it and then I see them suffer and then, you know, it sucks because I cannot do the work for you. I can only tell you, you know, but it is what it is. And then use your intuition. Now with the High Priestess, I'm just saying that like, even especially with everything that's going on, you have to be discerning and there's obviously stuff that's being hidden. That's obvious. So use your intuition to scry. Use your intuition to understand. Use your intuition to be like, wait a second. Like, because here's the thing. If someone tells you something and you for even a second have to go, like, wait, what? Red flag, red flag, red flag. That means that the way that that person said it, yeah, they meant it in a way to make you feel bad. Period. End of story. That's how it is. It's like your intuition knows the way. So do make sure to still keep up your spiritual practice and your spiritual hygiene. Make sure to make like that you're protected, put up your shield. Um, commune with your ancestors or your guides or your spirit team. Like just make it a practice to like tune into you, tune into your soul and see what your soul has as far as guidance for the next step. With the Six of Swords, you're really ready to walk away to this like better life, especially with this better mentality, something where you're like, you have learned how to not let people take rent, like take up so much space in your brain. Um, if they are not aligned for you, then let them go, or they'll leave themselves. Um, you are who you surround yourself with. So choose wisely. And it's not that like you should alienate people, but it's like if they show you that they are not, I don't want to say of value or worth, but like, I guess what I'm saying is if they're not willing to respect your boundaries, then you need to let them go. Like you just need to walk away. Like it doesn't have to be ugly, but it's just like, if they can't treat you the way that you deserve to be treated, it is not someone that you should be in a business partnership with, a friendship, or a relationship with, period, end of story. Because you deserve to have your boundaries respected. You deserve to be treated with the respect that you give to others. And you're ready to find those more fulfilling friendships. And that leaves us with the King of Swords. This is about really getting your mindset on lock. Because when you know, again, like that's what I was saying, like when you know, you don't look two kings. And then we got the Emperor. Look at this. We got we three kings of glorious are okay. These three kings, and I'm technically the Emperor, but anyway, like this is your time to build your legacy, to take your seat at your throne. And then he's not on a throne, but he's in the library. But he's like, listen, this is where all the wisdom is. This is where all the texts are. Use that knowledge to your advantage because knowledge and wisdom is nothing if it is not applied. So start applying it. Does that make sense? All right. Comment below and let me know what resonated. Obviously take what resonates and leave the rest. I cannot believe that my signifier card came out. That was wild. Yeah, I literally just heard good things are coming. With the sun card! That's such a good sign! Oh my god! Claim that in the comments below. Good things are coming for me. Easily and effortlessly. Yes. Oh, that made me so happy. Okay. Well, with justice, justice will be served. That's another reading. Justice will be served. All right. Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed this. I will go live on Substack more often, probably once a week. Thank you so much for joining me. And the magician, look at that. The magician, you have all the tools that it takes to start weaving your magic. Obviously, if you want to work with me, DM me or email me. I will be opening up a mastermind / mentorship in a month or two. But I'm just really happy to kind of like be back in the saddle again. I'm really looking forward to having more of these talks. And if there's anything that you want me to cover, of course, like DM me or email me, be like, oh my God, I totally remembered. Like, will you talk more about blah, blah, blah? I'll be like, yes, bet. Oh my God. Like, let's discuss, But yeah, I hope that this was fun for you. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love you to the moon and back, and I will see you all in the next live. All right? Take care. You've got this. I love you.